Clyde. Congressman Clyde, so first of all, thanks for being with us. I know you're busy. That's an understatement. Wednesday, you guys were in conference, right? So the Republican conference met, and you talked about an impeachment inquiry for Joe Biden. Give us some insight into that meeting, sir.
That's exactly right, John. You know, in our Republican conference, if we're going to go forward on impeachment, we're going to have to do this the right way and not the way that Nancy Pelosi did it. And that means that we have to look at the evidence that we see, verify the evidence that's there. And there is now mountains of evidence. You know, you've got the Form 1023 right here, which I think every solitary person needs to read that. They need to know what's in that 3-page document. And then you've got the whistleblowers that have come out. You've got the financial records that the Oversight Committee has uncovered that corroborate what we're seeing in these other documents. So when you have evidence corroborating other evidence, then you know you've got something there. You've got, you know, where there's smoke, there's fire, and I firmly believe there's fire there. Then you've got the business partners. Hunter's business partners that are going to be deposed and come before the hearing. So you've got evidence coming out, and I firmly believe that an impeachment inquiry is in order right now. That's why I sent that tweet out, and I believe we're going to go down that path. Because we have to. This is the most corrupt administration ever. This is way beyond Watergate. This is dealing with bribery with foreign countries. Gaining influence over the United States, paying the vice president, his son, his family for United States policy decisions. That is incredibly corrupt. So that's why we've got to do this, and I'm happy to be part of it, and I'm happy to provide evidence.
Let me read your tweet. You said yesterday, you tweeted out, "We have troves of evidence detailing Joe Biden's long history of corruption and abuse of power. It's past time for Congress to act. House Republicans must begin an impeachment inquiry into President Biden. Yes, and when is the question everybody's asking. And now you guys are going on. I understand you have to go back to your districts. But, 6 weeks, nothing's going to happen until September. And then you got Ken Buck running around telling me about appropriations, which is all a sideshow, a shell game, because nothing's going to happen with that, because you already gave away everything when you folded, not you personally, when the conference led by your speaker folded on the debt ceiling. So all that is a charade. When do we start these impeachment hearings?
Well, the inquiry has to go first so that we can pull all the evidence in, and we're doing that right now. I mean, Oversight, I think, has done a phenomenal job on that. Jamie Comer continues to do that. We're not going to do this the way that Nancy Pelosi did it, and that is rush to judgment on just a decision that, make it a political decision. This is going to be based on the evidence, and because the American people are going to see that Republicans respect the process, and that's what has to happen here, and that's what we want the American people to see. We respect the process, and so we're going to go through it a step at a time. I know Homeland Security is working on impeachment of Mayorkas. They're about step 3 through their 5 steps. I think you're going to see that as well. So we're serious about this, John, and I'm firmly convinced that we will see impeachment when we come back September, October timeframe.
Congressman Andrew Clyde, what did you see in that 1023 that upset you so much?
Well, I will tell you that Burisma bought the Bidens. There's no question whatsoever that in this document, this is from a trusted human source, an FBI source that has been corroborated year after year after year that they have used. The FBI has had this document now for 3 years and has done nothing with it. The DOJ, rather, has done nothing with it other than refer it to a United States attorney that has done nothing with it. The Department of Justice is covering up for the Bidens in such an incredible way that, to me, they are complicit in the corruption right here that we are seeing. So it stunned me that you have $5 million for Joe, and 5 million for Hunter and 5 million for Joe. So now Joe, there's no longer 10% for the big guy. Now it's 50%. He's an equal partner in this deal. It's evident that Joe Biden has lied to the American people time and time again about not being involved in Hunter's business dealings. He is an equal partner in Hunter's business dealings. That's what this document says to me.
How riveting did you find that, sir?
It was stunning. I mean, which is why every American citizen needs to read this document, every solitary one. And I'm thankful for Senator Grassley for releasing it. I think it was so critical that this message gets out there of the corruption dealing with foreign countries at the very top of our government, the apex of our government, the president himself when he was vice president.
You know, it's interesting. You said the other day that real Bidenomics is the exposure of the family of total corruption. You know, it's a great analogy because Bidenomics is a total disaster. The way they're spinning it's a clown show. But you know, you look at the fact that we had a sitting vice president of the United States that was taking cash to influence policy. I mean, is that not treasonous? I mean, how do you get away with this?
It's certainly bribery, and you know, you could probably make the case for treasonous as well. But it's certainly bribery. I'll give you that. And you know, that meets the high crimes and misdemeanors, in my opinion. And you know, what this document shows is the total corruption and the cover-up of the Department of Justice as well. You know, and that's really what got Nixon, was the cover-up. So when you have that, the complicit, the executive branch's agencies being complicit in the corruption of the executive itself, then do we really have a republic? Do we? I mean, I don't think we do. We have a deep state running our government, and that's not the way it works. So Congress is going to have to use its Article 1 authority to investigate and then to impeach where we find that warranted, and then to also defund and reorganize when it comes to these agencies that are blatantly protecting crime. And then on the other side, going after President Trump for something that is not there, for nothing. And you see what this is now number 5, witch hunt number 5. So you know, this is really, really bad for our representative government.
How deep is the rot in the Department of Justice, in your judgment, Andrew Clyde?
It's very, very deep, John. It's incredibly deep. When you have the Attorney General himself leading this, you know, he's also another candidate for it. I think he's a candidate for impeachment as well. And I'm so glad that he's not on the Supreme Court. But he's in the position that he's in right now. He is damaging our country by leading that Department of Justice, Department of Injustice, down the wrong path. Lady Liberty there is not blindfolded anymore. Lady Liberty has, you know, there's a concrete block on one side of the scale in the Department of Justice, and that's unacceptable. We can't have that in America. There's no two-tiered system of justice, John.
Andrew, give us your best date, because we're running out of time. Give us your best date in your judgment of when we're going to get the call for an official Biden impeachment inquiry, a formal inquiry. What's your best guess on a date? I have a half a minute.
I can't do that, John. I can't do that. I know we all want to jump to that conclusion and pin it to a date. When's it going to happen? But I can't do that. I don't know. You know, I'm one of 222 Republicans, 21 Republicans, and I can't. I just know that we will work toward it. I can tell you. You're
actually one of 20, sir.
Well, okay.
You're one of 20.